Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mad Mike, and welcome to the Midweek War. All right, we are here to talk NXT TakeOver, the end parentheses of the beginning. With me, as always, is the voice of Inspire Pro Wrestling, Eamon Paton. How are you, sir?
Mike, this is the end of the beginning of the genesis of the beginning.
Of McGillicuddy. Yes.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, if it was just Mike McGillicuddy leading out a whole bunch of just random guys. All right. So this is TakeOver. This was a 2-hour show. Eamon, what's your word for TakeOver?
Good question. Team.
Okay. All right. My word this week is going to be cage.
Again, that's been your word a few weeks.
God damn.
Always for the same show, and not always referring to the same thing.
Yes, this is entirely accurate. It's a fun word.
God.
If I had a secondary word, it would be fin, as in FIN, like the
See,
French.
that's why didn't no one make a joke about that?
Probably because not many people would get it. All right. So, wow. Eamon, TakeOver was such a crazy show. What was your good for TakeOver this week?
Going towards my word, that tag match though.
Yeah, seriously. Wow.
That was probably the best tag match I've seen in a long time.
It's the best non-trios match I've seen in a long time. I'll say that.
Okay, that's yeah. Just regular tag match.
Yeah, 2-on-2, best I've seen in a while.
Definitely. I don't know. I because we've had good tag matches on the main roster, but I don't think I've seen anything really as special as this. This was so well executed and so fun. And it did a lot, and I've mentioned this casually before on past shows, but everyone loves American Alpha. There's no question about it. They're fucking amazing. They're the best. No doubt about that. But holy fuck, are Dash and Dawson great?
Mm-hmm. And see, the thing is about Dash and Dawson, I don't think they would be great individually.
No, not at all.
They're a great team. They have a very good, very effective team dynamic.
But for the most part, the best tag teams in history, that's the case, is that they're better as a unit as they are in singles. And that's what I like about NXT is that everybody who's in the tag team pretty much fits as a tag team. Everyone is a tag team because they work well as a team, not because, well, we don't have anything for you, so let's make you a tag team.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and the amount of the tag team maneuvers, and it's just very old school wrestling, and it works.
Yeah, but done to such a pace, this, I think they did not slow down once, I feel, in this match. They were always going. And I thought that was super. I mean, they upped their game from TakeOver Dallas, and I thought the Dallas match was really good, but this was on a new level. And I think these are guys who I think are going to kind of. I hope these are the guys that are fall into that kind of role where it's they constantly deliver. They'll be known years down the line because of their matches with each other. Because I think obviously they're great, but the way they work with each other, I think, is especially really great. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and complete surprise, we got new tag team champions.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't think anyone predicted the Revival winning.
I have not seen anyone predict the Revival winning. I've listened to a bunch of podcasts and stuff like that. No one I've heard from has predicted the Revival getting back the belts. And plus, they're the first time ever two-time any champion NXT.
Yeah. The only other technical thing would be Neville winning the belt twice, the tag belts twice, but he had them with two different partners. Mm-hmm. I'd still they're the first unit to win a championship twice in NXT. And they beat Balor doing it, which everyone thought Balor could have been the guy to do it. Like, they beat so many people who could have done it.
Yeah,
they beat Bayley. They beat Bayley becoming a two-time NXT Women's Champion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's amazing to me. I just really love them as a unit, and I've really come to appreciate them more. I don't know if because I know you didn't catch it in the beginning, but did you rewatch the pre-show?
No, I didn't get a chance to yet with work I had today.
The best fucking promo between Dash and Dawson, where Dash is like not even secretly putting in fake teardrops and acting like he's crying because they lost the belt to Dallas. It's the best. It's so good. They're very charismatic. They're not just they're kind of like they're no frills, but they're not a boring tag team. Like, they have personalities, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, and you can see it in the ring too. Like when they get going, they have charisma in the ring to kind of play off of it too. Like Jordan and Gable, very obvious charisma.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, they did dual soccer slides, for fuck's sake.
Best thing.
But yeah, like Dash and Dawson are fun to watch. They're just like, I love, like, we called them the Mechanics for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I still think that name fits them better than the Revival. I still think that name fits them.
I still like the Revival, but yeah, like, I think, and they upped their game in this match. Like, the stuff they were doing was pretty much on the level of of Jordan and Gable. I feel like that dive Dash did, like, through the turnbuckles to one of them on the outside when Scott was getting that pin. Like, that was, I feel like you could put that tag match anywhere. Any promotion, and it would work.
Let us not forget the Doomsday Device turned into belly to belly suplex by Gable.
Yes, which is
holy shit.
Which is an old, like, I found someone vined it where they compare the two, but it's an old Steiner Brothers move.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I love that they are, both of the teams clearly love wrestling and love, like, the history of wrestling. Like Dawson doing the Arn Anderson DDT, or them doing this move, like,
or Gable and Jordan doing the ankle locks,
or doing the ankle locks. Yeah, like, they really are passionate. You get the fact that they're passionate, and that really comes through, I think. Which, yeah, amazing stuff, and the stuff afterwards also was very surprising.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Because my good or bad or change isn't going to reflect any of that.
Okay.
So two big guys assaulted American Alpha.
Yes.
And apparently they're led by Paul Ellering.
That was like, I kind of knew of them because they had been working NXT Florida house shows as the Authors of Pain. Where they have, like, these masks, and, like, it's very, like, kind of like, it's very different from, like, what mostly was in NXT. And then I'm like, oh, they're debuting them. That's really cool. And they were looking pretty well. And then just fucking Paul Ellering shows up out of nowhere. And it's like, what is happening?
I have to say, he needed a rolled up newspaper.
Yes.
he needed that, or sunglasses. I don't need both.
Where was his jacket? Where was his jacket that said Mr.com on the back?
Where is Rocco? Where the fuck is Rocco?
I really love this.
Yeah.
I love the addition of Ellering, especially because that's not been done in NXT. Having a veteran come in this kind of a role.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and not only that, just a fucking manager in NXT. The last time we had an actual manager
was Lana.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, you can't really count Dana Brooke. You can't really count like
Natalia when she was managing Tyson.
Yeah, like Lana was the last pure manager we had in NXT, and NXT could use some managers.
But yeah, managers, but also somebody. You have a manager now who has a track record and has a resume and has credibility because of his history. Mm-hmm. So, and I love the idea of him being like, I'm going to go to NXT, find this untapped potential in this team, and elevate them. And, who's to say if they progress towards the main roster, like, that could be a really fun story to tell.
Do you think they keep the name Authors of Pain, or do you think they go by a more let's say, known name like the Legion of Doom.
I don't think they'll. Nah, I don't think they'll do that. I don't think they would directly call them the Road Warriors or the Legion of Doom.
Okay.
Because
I was just curious because, I mean, it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility. I mean, there was a new Midnight Express. There was,
Yeah, well, New Midnight Express is.
Well, no, what I'm saying is there's been, like, other iterations.
Right. I will say, though, I don't think there's ever been a successful team that has put new at the beginning of their team name.
New Age Outlaws.
Well, no, okay.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Of a team that was like the new team from the past.
No, I get you.
Because like New Rockers were a thing, and that wasn't great. Like,
hey, you shut up about Leaf Cassidy. That is a different show.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But what was your good?
My good this week. Fuck, man, I gotta give it to that cage match.
That cage match. Again, I say best tag match I've probably seen in a while. Probably best cage match I've seen in a while.
And you know what it is? The cage itself felt different because it was.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like your standard WWE cage, which I feel it enhanced the match because it looked like no one was going to get out of that. But at the same time, it looked fresh.
I agree. And then there was I saw some people like saying that they liked the match, but they didn't like the psychology of it with the escape rule. I didn't mind it at all. Like, I thought it was still really cool. I liked that. I appreciated the stuff of, like, in recent weeks, Joe has kind of really been selling the fact that he's kind of a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. Like, he's kind of like an asshole. Like, especially in that sit-down interview, he wasn't like, I'm the badass and I'm going to kill you. He was that a little bit, but he was more like being a dick.
Yeah.
So I love that he tried to escape like as soon as possible.
Oh yeah, no, that was great. He like pushed off Balor and then just completely tried to escape through the cage. That was great.
I thought it was a really fun match. A lot of spots that I didn't expect. Like, there's usually only so much you can do in a cage match, based on just all the cage matches that have happened, and they did some different stuff that I thought was really cool.
Yeah, there was an extended spot where Balor had Joe between the ropes and the cage.
Yeah.
That whole like elongated spot was amazing.
It was really fun. I thought it was very innovative what they were doing. And yeah, Joe coming out. I think Joe was the right winner. That's the one thing I think I agree with everybody who like has been reviewing the show is that the right person won in every match.
I don't necessarily agree with that. We'll get into it. I don't necessarily agree with that.
I personally would. I think, especially going further, I think obviously Joe and Balor is done and should be done, and we'll see what progresses from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So, what was your bad, Amon?
Like I said, I really like this show. I don't know. I can't think of a distinct, real kind of bad.
Do you want me to go first? Because I have one.
If I can think of a slight, well, it will be my bad / change. I'll say this because it works for both. And it's nitpicky, but like, I would have liked the Asuka Nia Jax match just to be a tad longer, just a bit longer. I think it would have worked for a little bit more time. I was still perfectly happy with that match and thought it was really great. I do think it, like when I look back at it, it did feel like shorter than past matches, like women's title matches to me. But I can understand why. I don't know. Maybe just again super nitpicky, but like maybe just a tad bit longer.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. I mean, I thought it was an okay length. I just kind of wish they got to the hitty, strikey stuff a little bit sooner because the beginning was a little slow for me.
Okay.
But my bad is gonna go to the announcers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not the whole night. The whole night they were mostly okay, and I've said this since Balor won the title. Matt Crown's disagreed with me on every stretch that the Demon was never losing. The Demon losing should be a big deal. And the announcers did not stress that at all.
I think I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. To me, that reads as the whole aspect of the Demon is not necessarily being downplayed, but it's just kind of more integrated now in a way where it's like not like. I think we wanted it to be like a more integral story and sort of a more like what's the word? Kind of a more of an elaborate story of what the difference between Balor and Demon Balor was.
Mm-hmm. Because that's what they've done in the promos.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing I think where it's like I wish they would have gone a bit further with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they would have just gone all out with the whole like these two have split personalities.
Yeah.
Like they do in the promo packages, but I wish they would have maybe done it more in like the interview. Like they didn't really mention it all in the Corey Graves interview last week. Like,
which I was shocked at. I thought that's where we were exactly going to get it.
Yeah,
because like you have an easy out for having Finn lose the rematch. Like Joe can say, "Hey, listen, you rely on that Demon too much. When you weren't the Demon, that's when you're weak. If you really want to beat me, you come beat me as Finn Balor and not as the Demon."
This is going to be a weird analogy, but I feel like they didn't go full Lucha Underground with it.
Yeah, oh no, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that.
They were kind of more like, well, the Demon is, and because in fairness, like when he did the face paint stuff in New Japan, it was never like this is a different person. It was more just like here's his war paint or whatever.
Yeah, but like when Mil Muertes came back from Grave Consequences, that's a different fucking guy.
This is a case where I do think they need to go full kind of, not supernatural, and it doesn't have to be wacky or crazy or anything like that, but just like the idea that he has a split personality. Like that's still a storyline that can be done in the realm of possibility. Maybe they want to hold off on that until we get to the main roster. Like I don't know, but yeah, I agree. I do wish they kind of would have gone more in depth with the whole Demon stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like why even make that drastic of a change to your character if you're not going to acknowledge what that does? Because honestly, he wrestled the match like just Finn Balor. Like, I don't know.
Well, in fairness, does he wrestle like when he wrestles as a Demon? Does he necessarily wrestle any differently?
I think he does a little bit. Like, I think maybe the cage had a little bit to limit what he can do, but I don't know. It just, I want there to be a tangible change to it, and not just like, oh, he's putting on paint, dressing like Venom,
which is cool. But like,
oh yeah, no, it's cool. But I think at a certain point you need to kind of have a rationale for it.
Yeah, my hope is that they'll do that on the main roster.
Yeah, I mean, they could be saving something like that for the main roster.
Because we're still in a place where it's like the stuff that happens in NXT doesn't always play into what happens to you on the main roster. So I think they can still do this angle on the main roster, but yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. So you already went through your change.
Yeah, my change is kind of the length of that match. Like it wasn't super short or anything, but
right. My change would be I would have had Austin Aries win. And not that I didn't like the match. I loved the match. I thought it was great. I would have had Aries win by cheating.
That's what we were theorizing.
Yeah, because I feel like everything on this show was a little too squeaky clean. Yeah.
For the most part, takeovers are. Like once in a while.
And in some regards, I love that. That's what separates NXT from something like TNA. But
or WWE's main show.
Yeah, or WWE. But sometimes wishy-washy finish can help. And I think it would have really, because at this point, Aries just kind of looks like a chump.
Yeah. But I think they have a good idea going forward. I like the idea of maybe like this just being a prolonged thing of him turning heel. You know what I mean? And going full heel with it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, obviously you got to build up frustration in order for him to kind of.
Of course. But, I mean, I thought they were already doing that with every time he comes out, the crowd chants Nakamura. Like.
Yeah, but I think, But I think, like, him losing to him, I think, is going to go full-fledged.
Either that, or if he loses, like, they go for a handshake afterwards, and then you get the classic Jericho dick kick.
Yeah, or something like that. Well,
and they like locks it, like nails a brainbuster or a last chancery or something. Like
I can see that. Maybe I have a feeling the reason they didn't do that is because they don't really want to prolong anything with Nakamura and Aries. I think Nakamura is kind of being fast-tracked towards the top, so to speak.
Well, I'm glad I got my TakeOver Brooklyn tickets. All right, so was there anything else we missed from TakeOver? Do you want to talk about Andrade?
Yeah, let's talk about it because I think there's a couple things we didn't talk about, but yeah, let's talk about that opener because that was a fucking great opener.
Yeah, I came in a little late for a TakeOver, the live stream, but I watched it afterwards. It was really fun, although I think they picked the wrong opponent for him.
Here's the thing: I've heard people say that, but I like that it was more evenly matched because I don't feel like every time you debut a new guy, it has to be like, oh, we can only make this guy look good. You know what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, Ty Dillinger is so over.
So
over. And
arguably,
it's probably not even him. It's probably just the fact that you can chant 10 really easily. But
no, I think it is him. Like, I think partially.
I mean, what's Angelo Dawkins doing? What's Buddy Murphy doing?
Really? We want them on this show?
I would have liked someone else besides Ty Dillinger.
I think, here's the thing. I think people, if that happened, people would be saying, where's Ty Dillinger on this show?
All right, I guess that's true. But
people want Ty to be something, and I think he's showing that he can be something, and I like that they gave him an even amount of stuff with Andrade. Like, and especially, like, we watched the Facebook Live thing Triple H did, and Triple H put him over pretty highly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like Ty Dillinger is already he's skipping the NXT Tyler Breeze part and has already been relegated to WWE Tyler Breeze.
Well, in fairness, NXT Tyler Breeze didn't win a lot either.
Okay, but he got high-profile matches.
And he slowly is. Like, I think he will. I think he is going to progress more. Again, maybe we'll get into that towards the end when it comes to, like, the future of NXT or whatever. But, like, I think they are seeing, like, he's over. Arguably, if we're gauging it just off of crowd reaction, the two most over people on that show were Nakamura and Ty Dillinger.
Yeah, I'd say that. Third would be Finn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, that's amazing. And I do think it's well-deserved because I do think NXT sees that he is very talented and sees that he's working hard to kind of do something. And that's the thing I like is that they see that and they're like, we really enjoy that. Let's rally behind them. And I don't think it took away from Andrade at all. I think Andrade's going to look great going forward. I think Ty's going to look great going forward. I think when you can make two guys look great instead of one, I think that's really good. Yeah.
Do you think this was originally supposed to be Elias Sampson before he got injured?
Possibly.
That's what I was thinking too, because Elias makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I like the way that they went about with it, like the whole stuff on social media with Ty and William Regal, like Ty being like, "I just want a chance. I want a chance to show what I can do," and so I think they are giving something to Ty in the process. And like I said, I don't mind that. You know, it wasn't like, in fairness, I don't like that every time they bring in somebody new, it's just like, oh, that's a squash. Here's your squash match.
Well, I mean, they didn't do that with the Mighty Don't Kneel. They came in and they lost.
As far as like TakeOver, like I'm glad they didn't go like Apollo Crews with it, or even like a Kevin Owens
or Baron Corbin.
You know, I like that they did something different.
Okay.
Also, side note, Andrade's fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I told you last week when I saw him work in Poughkeepsie, he won everyone over really quickly.
Side note, I posted this on the Mayhem Show Facebook page. They released his theme song right after TakeOver ended. Probably now one of my favorite theme songs.
I thought it was okay. I think it's
so fucking good. I think it's up there. Personally, I think it's up there with Nakamura's.
Ooh, I don't know if I'd go that far.
I really love it.
Okay. Well, to each their own. Let's see. Was there anything else? Oh, I wanted to talk about something real quick.
Okay.
It goes to my lower third.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, really, really great. Who's doing the interview? Was it just an interview with William Regal backstage?
Yeah, it's an interview with. It's one of the new chicks they have doing interviews.
Yeah, but it was just a casual interview of Regal backstage, like how TakeOver was going anyway, and didn't say anything, but just Bobby Roode walking slowly past William Regal into his office, and everyone's like, "Oh, I should probably go see what that's about." And he just walks off camera, and I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna be fun."
Also, side note, because we were all theorizing like what the end was going to mean, and if it was going to be like some big swerve or whatever at the end, I was telling like I would have died both in good and bad terms if Dixie Carter just walked out during the main event. That was the whole.
But you know, it'd be great. Do you know what Dixie Carter's name would be in NXT?
Oh Jesus! Don't.
Do you know what it would be, Eamon?
What would it be?
Claire Lynch.
Wow. I was gonna say I thought they were gonna name her. I thought your joke was gonna be they were naming her something else, someone else from Designing Women.
Oh, if she came out as like Taylor Mishash. I know his name is Mishash Taylor, but Taylor's a girl's name. Oh my god. Fuck. I want to write that fan fiction now.
No.
With Dixie Carter as Taylor Mishash in the NXT zone. That would be amazing. Oh jeez. Oh no, fuck. Amon. We missed it. You know what Dixie Carter's name would be.
What?
Delta Burke.
Yeah, it would be Delta Burke.
Yeah, she is full on Delta Burke.
Pretty much.
God damn it. So you come to the midweek war for your NXT Designing Women crossover stories.
Jesus Christ. I'm trying to think. Do you want to go further into the women's title match because we only kind of briefly touched on it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know if it was fun.
It was really fun.
There was a lot of head kicking.
I think it was exactly what Nia Jax needed personally.
Yes.
I think this was her best, without a doubt, her best match to date.
Mm-hmm.
Finally allowed her to kind of be more aggressive. And I'm very excited going forward. Because I think, well, I'm excited, but also, here's the thing. And Triple H kind of hinted to it on Facebook Live, so things may happen hopefully soon. But I think the women's division in NXT looks good. The only problem is there's only two people I can see as like actual threats to Asuka, and that's Bayley and Nia Jax.
Mm-hmm. And she's beaten both of them pretty handily too.
Yeah, I mean you can obviously do like a triple threat scenario.
Oh yeah, you absolutely can.
Which I think makes the most sense going forward because Bayley wants the belt back, but also wants revenge on Nia.
Or you can have like a triple threat match where two of the characters are kind of aligned, like let's say Carmella.
Yeah, because
then you could turn Carmella heel by having her blindside Bayley, and that way Asuka doesn't lose any steam, and Carmella's a big top heel then.
Yeah, it's just hard for me because it's like I can't. They're all the women on NXT are good. Like they're all,
varying degrees of good.
Well, yeah, but as good as Carmella and Alexa and I know there's more. Why can't I think of more?
Peyton Royce,
like they're not at that point where it's like I can see them as a threat to be.
Yeah, they're mid-carders. They're not main eventers.
Like when Bayley was champion, yeah, but I think it's also you've built Asuka in such a way where it's like it's so hard to have somebody reach that level where they can dethrone her.
Well, Bayley wrestles kind of like Sami Zayn does. Mm-hmm. Like Bayley will start off at her opponent's level if they're below her, and then bring them up.
Right.
And that's a great way to do it. Like that's really because you start off by kind of playing into their strengths and then bring them up to your level. Like that's what she did with Carmella. That's what she did with Alexa. That's what she did with Eva, for fuck's sake. And that's difficult to do. But Asuka, just hold on to your butts. Like that's the Asuka match. Like,
and it's good to have people that are different like that, but also like that's the thing. It's like you have to have somebody who's on a certain level to where you really consider them a threat. The closest person I can think, and the only way they would be able to do it is if they really kind of fast track her push, would be the newly named Ember Moon. Just because of her style. Like, I think that's the only one I can really see, like, if they fast track her really quick, could be a threat.
Yeah, I mean, what you can do in the women's division pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a lot of depth right now, unfortunately. Like, they mined that dry really quick, and I don't think they realized it.
And there's a lot of, and it's dry, but there's a lot of girls there.
Yeah, but how many of them do we see that often?
Yeah, that's the thing.
And plus, we don't know who all of them is signed. Like, I assume Peyton Royce is signed.
The only ones I know that are signed are Peyton, Billy Kay, Liv Morgan, Aaliyah. Who else? But
yeah, I mean, we haven't seen.
But usually,
the last three you mentioned, we haven't seen them in months.
Yeah, that's the problem. And I think I think I said it about a month or so ago. They really need to start taking some of those girls and giving them more of a push,
or giving them characters.
Yeah,
like not even necessarily pushes, but I'm sorry, Peyton Royce just comes out like a Final Fantasy villain throwing a rose around. That's my character. Like at that point, you're essentially a Pokemon or Tuxedo Mask.
Yeah, Liv Morgan is like a blonde Carmella. Like
Liv Morgan waitresses at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah, well. And they're good wrestlers, but it's just
they're
you
fine.
just have to put more of a focus on them, and I don't see what's taking them so long. Honestly,
I think it's just difficult to match someone up with Asuka because with Asuka you don't get like the promos that you would have with Bayley as champion. You don't get the stories because that's not Asuka's style.
But I would like in that case I would give them a story with one of the other like an Alexa Bliss who is good and had some storyline development leaving Blake and Murphy, but like still isn't like completely developed doesn't have a developed story. She's kind of just wrestling matches every once in a while.
Yeah,
like, it'd be better to like maybe just do something with her and give them a story, like, and work your way up almost in a way, like.
I just kind of wish they didn't call up like Dana at the same time as Emma.
Yeah, because Dana is another one that like you could have a story with.
Especially Dana already had established in-story relationship with Asuka.
Yeah, so there's a lot you could do, but yeah, that's unfortunate. To me, the time window, like the frame on which they can get these girls to a certain level is slowly going down. So they need to do it as soon as possible.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully, like you said,
because who's to say Bayley's not going to get called up soon, or another one of those top girls gets called up? What's going to happen then?
Yeah, I mean, if you would ask me like a couple weeks ago, I would have said Bayley would be up by the draft. Now I don't think so.
Yeah,
because I don't think they can afford to lose her really, which is a shame because Bayley's main roster ready.
Yeah.
But all right. Before we sign off, do you want to talk about that Triple H Facebook thing?
There wasn't much to talk about, in fairness.
See, you say that, but he called NXT a brand.
In fairness, he's called them that before.
Yes, but this is something that they were pushing. Like this is something that they were pushing. Like Triple H is going to be talking live. They're intimating that it's going to be important.
Yeah,
and they called him the father of NXT.
Holy shit, that's
no, I'm serious. They did.
No, I understand, but that's very like I don't know, very over the top. But
yeah, no, it's a little creepy and weird, but I truly think that now we might be getting 3 brands drafting.
That could happen.
I really, really think that. And I think they realize that NXT, like, main roster and NXT have strong tag divisions. Those are fine. But the main roster of NXT needs a little filling out, and so does the women's division.
Yeah.
And you could take someone like an Alicia Fox or a Natty
or Summer Rae.
Or a Summer Rae, especially a Summer Rae, and send them back down to NXT to kind of bolster the division a little bit. And then you can move Bayley to the main roster without losing a lot of steam.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? And I know a lot of people are going to give me flack for this. Imagine Nikki Bella in NXT.
No, I'm not going to give you flack for that. I completely would want to see that.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I think Nikki Bella in NXT would be amazing.
She's developed great on the main roster. So why not put her in that environment where she can have longer matches? She said it herself in cons and stuff like that. She would love to have longer matches and do more stuff like that. I think people have their misinterpretations of what makes a good, women's wrestler, and I think that could be a cool story to tell. Side note, I don't know if you follow WWE's YouTube channel. They posted a random video of
the little girl talking to Bellas,
talking about how asking Nikki how big John Cena's muscles are. And,
no, it was adorable.
But freaking out, and I think there's nothing that gets me more excited watching stuff of kids getting into the current modern day wrestlers.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because I think there's such a stigma that wrestling's not as good as it used to be. Wrestling's not as popular as it used to be.
Yeah, no, fuck that. That's because we're in our 20s and 30s.
For kids,
it's as popular, if not more, than it was.
Or that kids only like John Cena.
Oh, that's not true at all. Trust me. Take it from someone who works in a toy store. This is not accurate at all. Every single little kid who's in the wrestling department, I asked them who their favorite wrestler is.
Mm-hmm.
The multitude of answers I've got is amazing.
Yeah.
I've gotten Kane. I've gotten Dolph Ziggler. I've gotten Rey Mysterio. One person even told me Pentagon Jr.
That's amazing.
I'm not even lying. I'm like, Cero Miedo. I love this.
Because I don't know. Because did you watch the Breaking Ground thing as well?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
It's really fucking good, by the way. But there's a clip of the Nakamura, they go through the Nakamura Zayn TakeOver match, and there's maybe a kid that's 8 or whatever in the crowd with a Nakamura shirt that they have on him, and he's so excited and so into the match and buying all the near falls and all that stuff. And I'm I love that anybody there's such a stigma that that match can only be digested by 18 to 30-year-old males. And that's not the case. It's good wrestling, and anybody can get into it because it's good wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one last tangent before we rank and wrap up. Going off the idea of little kids reacting to wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
This season of Swerved I'm serious. Does that in spades.
I've only seen the first episode where they do the New Day taste test thing.
Oh my god! And I love that thing.
But that little girl, awesome. I have one of your shirts.
Mm-hmm. And she still couldn't come with her to say, "This tastes horrible." But Eamon, there's one where they have little kids cutting promos.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! There's a little kid cutting a promo on Randy Orton and how he would get out of the RKO. Randy Orton.
Oh, I've seen that clip actually.
Randy Orton sneaks up behind him and grabs his neck for an RKO. It's amazing.
That's amazing. I would be fucking terrified.
But it's fucking there's that. There's one with where they have this little kid who's in making signs. So AJ comes in and he's like, "Hey, let's make a sign for me. I'm fighting Ryback tonight." So they make a sign. Well, they make an anti-Ryback sign. And then AJ's like, "All right, man, thanks a lot." And then he leaves. And as he's leaving, Ryback just strolls in the other side. The kid, genuine shock and terror, tries to hide the sign.
That's amazing.
It's the best. It is the absolute best. the stuff they prank with little kids, like you can tell they are fans and they are in it for the long haul, and it's amazing.
And that's really cool to see because it's like I don't know, we get that stigma of like that kind of wrestling is like only for smarks and only for like that, you know, our genre of fan. And it's like, no, like if it's really good, like it can span different, you know, genres, different age groups, you know.
Yeah, and keep in mind, wrestling ain't made for us.
Yeah.
It's not. It's made for little kids. It was made for us in the late 90s in the Attitude Era. It was made for everyone 16 and up. That's who it was made for. But now
when people say that, like they think they mean like, oh, the boring John Cena match. But no, all of wrestling.
Yeah.
All of wrestling is a form of entertainment. It's a form of action that's supposed to get people interested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like if you watch the movie Shrek, there's going to occasionally be a few jokes that are for the adults.
Mm-hmm.
But it's made for kids. It's made for kids. Like, kids don't understand the Shrek joke that he's compensating for something.
Yeah.
And kids don't understand what John Cena means when he says 5-knuckle shuffle. Like, you know, that's just a thing. It's just a thing. All right. So, Eamon, I've been kind of delaying this question because I don't know how I'm going to answer it. So I'm going to make you answer it first.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you rank TakeOver this week?
Can I rank it 1A? Like it's TakeOver. Like it's not going to lose.
See, I was thinking of doing a tie this week. I know that's against our bylaws, but
well, that's the thing I'm saying. Like 1A, 1B. Like,
I mean, yeah. I don't know. I kind of feel like we should.
We'll get into it later. But Luch is really good this week as well.
I kind of feel like we should have to pick.
If we have to pick, it's TakeOver. Love you, Lucha. You're amazing, and I really love you, everything you do. But it's TakeOver because it's TakeOver. Like,
all right. I think I'm going NXT number 2. I think it's the slightest of twos. The slightest, the ever so slightest, like the thinnest margin I've ever ranked these two shows.
Yeah, in fairness,
ever so slight, and honestly,
stick around for the Lucha show because I'm gonna fucking gush over that show as well.
Yeah, but the reason Lucha's number 1 for me is just my 8-year-old brain, and that's gonna be the only reason. It's gonna be the only reason.
Thing we do know is that Impact Wrestling does not win.
Impact Wrestling isn't even in my top 10
because Impact Wrestling never wins.
Yeah, no, that's true. Impact Wrestling wouldn't win if it was the only show we watched.
Impact Wrestling, I wouldn't have sex with you if you were the last wrestling show on earth.
Good God, I don't think we need to go that far. All right, but Eamon, where can the people of the internet find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Eamon2Please. You can also check out Inspire Pro Wrestling on Twitter and Inspire Pro Wrestling over at InspireProWrestling.com.
All right, and you can find me at MadMike4883 on the Twitter machine. Please feel free to come into our Facebook page. We are doing a very special thing for this month. We are having ourselves a mock draft. The midweek, me, Amon, Antonio Garza, Matt, and Bobby F. J-Town, we've all taken the SmackDown brand, and Sorg and all the rest of those jokers, they got the Raw brand. We're crushing them. We're crushing them so far. If you want to see who we drafted and who they drafted, go to our Facebook page, go to our YouTube page, find the video. We're doing a 10-pick each side draft every week. For the next 3 more weeks, and I have a feeling it's going to get really interesting, especially if you're a fan of NXT, because we got Chad Gable and Nakamura. So yeah, suck it, Raw. All right. So for Eamon Paton, I'm Mad Mike, and this has been your Midweek War.